Hey everyone, welcome to On the Rocks. I'm your trail guide, Claudia Collins, and I'm taking you along for my adventures as I check hikes, waterfalls, and other outdoor activities off of my Arizona bucket list. Today we're hiking the Aspen Trail and Marshall Gulch Loop at Mount Lemmon. The hike is 4.2 miles long and has about 900 feet of elevation gain, and it's rated moderate. Mount Lemmon is in the Coronado National Forest outside of Tucson, and the drive up the mountain alone makes this hike already worth it. Today we made the 3-hour trek through Tucson and all the way up Mount Lemmon so we could enjoy much cooler temperatures. It feels incredible out, and go for a nice 4.5 mile loop hike. So we'll see how it is. We took the trail clockwise, which I think was the right call. It made this hike a little bit more of a workout because this direction is steeper. And we could tell it was because we were quickly climbing up to some beautiful viewpoints. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't have high expectations for Mount Lemmon, but I was pleasantly surprised by how scenic and peaceful it was. It is so quiet. Oh, and not to mention how incredible the temperatures felt. I mean, mid-60s in the summer, sign me up any day. None of the All Trails reviews said much about this, so I will. The trail was very overgrown in some sections. I felt like I was bushwhacking at times, but I didn't mind too much because it was only in a few areas. It's a little harder to breathe because we did incline like nearly 10,000 feet, but I like it. The peak of Mount Lemmon is 9,159 feet, and it's important to hydrate and take your time while hiking, since 9,000 feet is a lot of elevation gain for one day. In this section of the hike, it occurred to me that this was the site of the Bighorn Fire that occurred in 2020. The Bighorn Fire burned nearly 120,000 acres, and it was caused by lightning. Even though this wasn't caused by human error, it's still a great reminder to pay attention to fire protocols and wind, since we do see plenty of fires caused by people in our state. And it's also another great reminder to leave no trace. On a positive note, the views were gorgeous and vast from the top of the mountain, and it was encouraging to see so much greenery and healthy plant life despite the recent fire. At one point you do come across a junction, just make sure to look for the Marshall Gulch sign to keep following the trail. I also didn't realize this hike was part of the Arizona Trail. If you're not familiar with the Arizona Trail, it's an 800-mile scenic hike that starts in Mexico and ends at the border of Utah, and I guess it goes right through Mount Lemmon. Another reason I loved doing this hike clockwise was so we could save the creek section for last, which was a nice way to close out the hike. The hike took us about 2 hours, and I read exactly 4.2 miles, which is what All Trails said, and that doesn't always happen, so that's nice. This trail was so peaceful at times, like all I could hear was my breath and our footsteps, but I highly recommend coming out to Mount Lemmon to escape the heat. It is so beautiful and so much fun. Oh, and on the way back down the mountain, be sure to stop and take in plenty of the viewpoints to enjoy the scenery. Thanks so much for joining me. I'll see you next time on The Rocks.